Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here in Jersey Nation, back with another video cast podcast. This week is part of our out season push for the 2024 season. That's right, October 30th, midnight is the deadline to join. EnduranceNation.us/join, link below for those of you who are watching me on YouTube. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about reimagining your winter training. Okay, there's a lot that we do as athletes that is hardwired into who we are. We have beliefs about work, we have beliefs about success. They permeate who we are, both professionally, athletically, socially, and they can be powerful tools that we can use to be successful, but they can also be limiters that hold us back. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we created the out season inside Endurance Nation as a direct response to some of those hardwired operating systems that athletes have worked with. So let me take you back to 2007, 2008, working with athletes from across the world at different times of their season. We had a unique opportunity to review what athletes were doing in juxtaposition to one another. I could see what athletes were doing in the winter, and I could see what athletes were doing in the summer at the same time. With athletes in different hemispheres, it was easy for us to get a sense for what worked and what didn't. Not that summer training should be used in the winter or winter training should be in the summer, but just that we could see that there were athletes who were succeeding and athletes who were struggling at different phases of the season. And we got a sense as we map those two corresponding elements over each other that athletes were succeeding early in the season, from that March, I would say, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, from like March to June. But that wasn't necessarily translating to race day success. And we were trying to figure out, how can we get athletes who are successful at this one particular time of year as a cohort, right? Overall, how do we get that success to extend out, right? We had a sort of a bump, if you will, in the middle of the season. And we had sort of like winter, time off, struggles, etc. Really hard to be consistent. And then we had race day specific challenges. We were looking at everyone's season and saying, wow, everyone hits a point in their season, just a few months in, 2-3 months in. They have lots of promise. They're excited. The weather's just turning great. The energy level's high. But that doesn't always translate into success on race day. And the success on race day wasn't just about our 4 keys approach with execution and fitness. The success was sometimes limited by fitness, sometimes limited by experience, sometimes just poor decision making or poor fortune, right? Just bad luck. But ultimately, what it came down to was we took a hard look at that and said, what if the opposite was true, right? What if we invert this, going back to first principles thinking, and said, listen, everyone's successful from March to June, right? So if you just tell them to race in April or May, just race in April and May, everybody, and everything will be fine. That wasn't the answer, because people's fitness was generally low that time of year. And so what we decided to do was to turn the weaknesses into the strengths. And that's where we invested all of our time and attention. First, we went to the race side of the equation and said, how do we make a 12-week to 16-week progression, usually 12 for most people, as bulletproof as possible? How can we have concrete steps that athletes take each week so that they're getting smarter and they're practicing what they're going to do on race day, both from a strategy standpoint in terms of pacing and nutrition, right? But also from an execution standpoint, what is the effort I'm going to be doing on race day? Let me get familiar with it now. Let me have all of my equipment ready, etc. So we dove in on the race execution side and we solved for that. And that was fantastic. Everybody who showed up to the race, once they got the protocol, was doing much better on race day, much better decision-making. Fantastic, right? So there was our 4 keys of race execution. That went public and was great because it helped a lot of athletes get much better. But it didn't solve the people who didn't have the fitness, right? So people could still perform well relative to the fitness they showed up with, but they weren't necessarily showing up with better fitness every year, right? If you think about it, if you only go to school 3 or 4 months a year and you're competing against people who've been in school for 9 months or 12 months a year, you're at a significant disadvantage. So our job was to figure out, how could we extend the training window in a fun and exciting way that would get athletes doing more work and seeing the results, so that when their natural motivation came along, they're already moving, right? They could just hop on that wave and ride it to new success overall. Enter the out season. We call it the out season because we're not off. We do work inside the out season. The out season is phenomenal because everyone on the team comes together. They start in November in the first wave, which is what I'm talking to you about today. Some athletes wait until January and start in the second wave. Either way is fine. Both are great opportunities to join the team. But outside of those opportunities, you're just on a wait list and you get replaced. As one person leaves, you can join. But during these key windows, you can apply, like this week right now, and get automatically fast tracked to the team, right? EnduranceNation.us/join. So check that out. So what are the fun components of the winter? Because I've talked to you before about work and intervals and early morning training and cold weather. Oh my goodness, what does it mean? Well, the fun comes from a couple aspects. First of all, everyone's on the same program. So your Tuesday is just like everyone else's Tuesday. Yes, some people do 8 minutes, some people do 10, some people do 12, but you're all doing the same thing. So there's a lot of sort of commiserating. Now, a lot of people like me, Coach Patrick, in the wintertime. I get a lot of DMs with fun emojis and pictures in them because people give me a hard time. That's all good. But other than that, when we think about what it means to be successful, it's also about building relationships, having teammates, having some accountability there, which is fantastic. So how do we do that? What do we do to make that work, right? Well, we have cohorts, right, where people can train and connect together and move through it. So people in the bike focus program are together, people in the run focus program are together. So you've got people who are training together for races later in the year that may not be completely overlapped, but they can train and learn now. We do a great deal of stuff in the wintertime related to equipment selection, self-care, in planning for the future of your remaining of your season, key races, so on, right? Building those relationships are going to carry you through your season when things get tough and when people, spread out and go to different races, right? But beyond that, we also have weekly check-ins with me online, which is easy for everyone to attend or watch the recording later. But we also have monthly events too, and these are fun. So we have a 5K challenge in November. We have a run challenge in December. We do like a swim time trial in February. We have a long bike weekend in January. These are fun events as an opportunity to take our fitness and do something cool with it. It's one of our mantras: do cool stuff with your fitness. And the goal there is just to make sure that you're having some fun along the way. Being successful racing is not just about stacking, going from a 10K this year to a half marathon next year to a marathon the next year. Having fun with that fitness is also a key component of it. So can you do something cool? Can you run 30 miles in 24 hours on your 30th birthday, right? Can you do this great hike? Can you do a through section of the Appalachian Trail? Can you use that fitness to do something different? Go to the Grand Canyon and run rim to rim. Because you have this fitness, you can do it. And inside the team, we've got people who are serious about their races, but also serious about having fun. And there's a great avenue for you to come in and join people who are tackling new challenges, whether they be FKTs, fastest known times for a segment, or just challenging themselves to try something different. We have all those different aspects here inside the team. So it's an opportunity for you to really invert your normal experience, which is lots of aerobic training, disjointed workouts, hard to balance with like your ski habit or your winter habit or life in the winter versus the summertime, really struggling to find a place where you belong. Island of Misfit Toys, raise your hand. That's us here inside Endurance Nation, Chief Misfit Toy right here. Super happy to work with you, get you dialed in on a plan that's accessible, that's achievable, and will help you build over time in terms of your self-knowledge and your fitness to a place where you can really be excellent when the weather turns nice and we all go back outside again and we can be normal people, right? So Misfit Wintertime is here. You can join us online, enduranceStation.us/join. If you go to our website right now, you'll see a download for our PDF for the out season. You can get that, sign up for it. It's an opportunity to learn more about the out season structure and how it works, or you can join. We'll be happy to answer your question in any one of our monthly sessions or weekly sessions as well. I'm looking forward to meeting you inside the team and helping you understand the value of an inverted season with the out season approach, putting the emphasis on getting ready early and being really awesome later in the year at our race, and letting the middle part of the year that we're already good at, we'll let it take care of itself, right? Let's make a head start this year, not just on your old self, but on the competition, and make sure we have more room for more fun. I look forward to talking to you inside the team. It's enduranceStation.us/